Wow. All right. Well, listen, Nick, you have to wonder. We're all...
No, not too early in the morning, Bart.
Jasmine, people smoking anything?
Yeah, because Jerry Jones must be drinking something. Because now he looks subdued, right? He was a guy that was talking all this stuff early in the week. He created the distraction. Now he wants to comment. You know how, like, you ever get mad at your kids and then they do something afterwards, just like, whatever.
I already played that card.
Right.
I already played the you're grounded for a month card.
He looked defeated. He looked defeated. And Jason Garrett is inept. He's not capable of pushing the team over the top. Some of his decisions that he's made, why would you go for it on 4th down when you're in field goal position, you kick a field goal, you go down 13, you have an opportunity because Steve Hauschka missed an extra point to maybe win with 2 more touchdowns in the game. Like, why are you going for it on the 20 for 4th down? Even if you get it, what does that mean? You still got 80 yards to go.
It certainly had the feel like Jason Garrett was coaching either a little more aggressively or maybe outside of the realm of what you would normally
or
see.
Stupidly.
Going forward on 4th and 1.
Take the gray out.
Going forward on 4th and 1, way back when normally no one would. I just wonder if all of this, all the coaching, the turmoil, all this discourse, maybe distracted the Cowboys and cost them the game yesterday.
That's not why they lost. They lost because this is who they are. The Buffalo Bills got a winning record. Are the Buffalo Bills at the very least a decent team?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Above 500.
Then guess what? Then you get to beat the Dallas Cowboys this year. That's how it works. The Cowboys lost this game because they are a talented team that can't beat anybody that has even 75% of the talent that they have, and they cannot produce in the biggest spots of games. Bart, at one point last night, or yesterday afternoon, they had 31 first downs, over 400 yards of offense, and 7 points. That should not be possible unless you have a half dozen turnovers. Now, I know Dak had 2 brutal turnovers, but even despite that, you should have produced enough offense to be in the game late. They abandoned Zeke. I do wonder if the pass-heavy game plan even early was part of Kellen Moore trying to shine up that resume like you talked about. Offensive coordinators in 2019 don't get new offensive coordinator jobs by having a great running game. They do it by having a wide-open passing attack. So I don't think that helped them. But if Jason Garrett had gotten a contract extension 3 days ago, they lose to the Buffalo Bills. And he's not going to get fired today, and so any injection of energy, injection of something is not going to happen for this team this season. Jerry made that clear yesterday. This is an underachieving, disappointing team that, by the way, was being carried along against worse opponents by their quarterback, who the last few weeks has not played well either. You said this was his worst game of the year. If it wasn't this, it was certainly last week in New England. Back-to-back winnable games. This one they should have won as a touchdown favorite, where they were, after being up 7-0, not competitive for the next 2.5 hours.
And what you just described is a front-running team, right? When everything's going right, they're high-fiving each other, they're looking excellent. But as soon as they run into a little bit of adversity, they start to fold. They start to tighten up. And you saw that on some of Dak's passes, right? He tightened up when it was time to make the big plays. You know, on the other side, you look at Josh Allen. He came up big, using plays with his legs, making winning plays. You talk about the 4th and 1, having wherewithal to pick the ball up and not even understand that once the quarterback drops the ball, he's live. They're just sitting there watching him, and then when he muscles up on him and goes all Gronkowski on him, they have no answer for it.
It was the single biggest play of the game.
Yes, absolutely.
The next play, they end up scoring a touchdown. That fumbled snap.
The Bill special? Was that the Bill special?
Whatever you want to call it. But that fumbled snap on 4th down is always results in turnover on downs.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter who recovers the fumble. You're not picking up the yardage.
He picked it up and stepped over 2 people and then slammed the other dude. That was the game in a microcosm. I'm bigger than you. I'm more physical than you. I'm more tougher than you mentally. Look at that. Get off me, little boy.
And then the next play was the other part of the microcosm of the game. We also somehow have a schematic advantage. We're gonna make you look foolish with a trick play after essentially Josh Allen. I mean, that's like a quarterback getting an interception, not having an interception. That should have been Cowboys ball. You got an extra possession. You score a touchdown on the next play. And here's the part for Dallas, Jenna, that is, to me, you called them front runners. I think that's a perfect description. They got up 7-0. Once Buffalo tied the football game, here is how the Cowboys' possessions ended. Once it was 7-7, a Dak pick, a Dak fumble, a missed field goal after you don't take a shot to the end zone at the end of the half, another missed field goal, and then the other fourth down they went for that you're talking about when Dak skips the ball to Zeke. As soon as there was, Buffalo was like, oh no, we are here for a fight. We're not going to roll over. We're not the Giants. We're not Washington. The Cowboys could not finish drives, and they abandoned Zeke, to me, way too early.
I mean, he didn't get a carry. I'm sorry, not to cut you off. He didn't get a carry, after 9 minutes and 40 seconds in the third quarter. He came out running the ball,
12 for 71.
Right, but then, really the gamesmanship, within the gamesmanship, was early on when you talk about that halftime when McDermott took the timeout and he showed the cover zero blitz to see how they would respond to it. So now go back to the fourth down against Zeke. They anticipated the all-out blitz, but he knew how the Dallas Cowboys were going to respond to it. What do? They drop back in the zone, and Zeke, even if he catches the ball, has three defenders right there. So once again, it goes to situational football. It goes back to coaching, which tells you that Jason Garrett is not a great football coach.
Look, if you say this is back-to-back poor outings from Dak Prescott, at least you could look at last week and say they're on the road, they're in a terrible, weather was awful, they're playing against the Patriots, all of that. You're at home on Thanksgiving. The weather is perfect because you're indoors. You're playing in front of a national audience. Everything was set up for you to succeed, especially the kind of season that Dak Prescott was having. And now you say, well, if you're not going to fire Jason Garrett, what's going to change? What kind of infusion of energy are you now going to get to push yourself to the end of the season?
Remember what he said. He said, hey, every decision I make for the next 4 games is made with winning in mind. What decisions can you make? What are you going to do? Go get Dez Bryant off the scrap heap? What decisions can you make? You're out of moves, Jerry. You're out of moves.
The only move he had right now, you're right, was to get rid of Jason Garrett. Does he make a mistake sticking with him here?
Well, yeah, I think absolutely. I said Jason Garrett should have been fired after the Patriot game, and the only reason you couldn't fire him after the Patriot game because you had a game 4 days later. Well, now they have a full week. They do play on Thursday again, but they just played on Thursday. So it's a regular week. They're not going to do it. Now, I want to make this clear. I do not think firing Jason Garrett fixes all that ails the Cowboys. I don't know that it fixes anything that ails the Cowboys. I do know that it is the only card you have left to play. Because to your point, there's no players available. I mean, I suppose they could try to sign Antonio Brown, but that's not going to fix what ails this team. Situationally, this team stinks. As far as schematically, this team does not go into games with an advantage. They are underachieving. And Dak Prescott, over the course of the season, the numbers look good. Against New Orleans, 0 touchdowns, a pick, and a 73 rating. Against Green Bay, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, and an 84 rating, and he was worse than that because he got a bunch of garbage yards at the end of the game when they were down 31-3. Against the Jets, no touchdowns and an 89 rating. Against New England, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a 64 rating. And against Buffalo, as many touchdowns as turnovers, and could have had a third turnover late. They just recovered it on 4th down. The only game where the Cowboys have lost, where Dak has played well all year, was the Vikings game. And now we go back to coaching. What did they do in the Vikings game? They went away from Dak Prescott in the most critical moments of the game. They fed Zeke, they fed Zeke, they fed Zeke instead of letting Dak try to win them that football game. This was a game where they could have fed Zeke. Instead, they tried to put it on Dak's shoulders, and they lose a game. The Bills are a good team-ish. They've beaten a bunch of bad teams. They're very well coached. They are very tough-nosed. Situationally, they are buttoned up, and the Cowboys are none of those things right now.
We call that Bortles ball.
Yesterday, Josh Allen way outplayed Dak Prescott, running the ball and throwing the ball.
We'll get him $100 million.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.